than that. How are we feeling, everybody? Nice. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Music Calgary is doing such great things, and this is a great opportunity to have such an established musician join us tonight. We're in for a good one. So thank you again for coming. All right, let's get into this. My name is HEMEN TOR-AGBIDYE. I'm the festival manager for Sled Island Music and Arts Festival, and I'm also on the board of Music Calgary, and I'm also a hip-hop artist named The Blue. So, ooh, I like it. It would be a massive understatement to say that our guest today is an accomplished musician. He is a Juno Award-winning artist, winning Rap Recording of the Year for his album TSOL. He has also been nominated or shortlisted 5 times for the Polaris Music Prize, the most by any artist in the awards history. He was formerly the host of CBC's Q and is the current host of Emmy and Peabody Award-winning documentary series Hip Hop Evolution. CBC named him the 2nd greatest Canadian rapper of all time. Please join me in welcoming Shad.
Hello, hello.
How are you feeling, man? Thanks for coming.
Man, I feel great. I'm sorry I'm late. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. No, I'm happy to be here, happy to talk about, I was saying backstage, happy to share anything I can.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to get into a lot. Congrats on the new record.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what brought this right now and how you're feeling about it?
Yes, so firstly, how I'm feeling about it, I feel great. I get a tremendous amount of satisfaction from finishing the thing that I set out to create. That's just kind of the way that I'm built, is I just get a lot of joy and satisfaction simply from that. So I just feel good. I feel like I've got my job done. Yeah. And in terms of where this album came from, what I would say is that the last 3 albums that I've made, including this one, have all been of a sort for me, in the sense that they've been my explorations of what I see when I look out at the world and try to understand what's going on underneath it all, what's going on inside of us. A little bit less kind of commenting maybe directly on the news of the day or the hot button issues, but looking straight at them and trying to understand what's happening underneath it, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%.
So this last album felt like the last chapter in that story, the final, my final sort of word and the end of my exploration of that. I don't know why it feels like that, but that's how it feels. Yeah. And that's one of the mystical things. I know there's a lot of artists in this room, so I feel okay talking in this esoteric kind of way because that's how we are. I feel like it's the end of something. Yeah. And so I feel, to answer your question finally, I feel good about it. And that's where it came from.
Nice. Yeah. I'm glad. And you mentioned the end of something. Is that like, what is that to you? You say something.
Yes. So I felt this way one other time in my career. Yeah. Where I feel just like something's done.
Okay.
I think more specifically, there's a certain story, like I was saying, there's a certain story that I've been trying to tell, and I'm done trying to tell that story or render that picture, and let's see what's next. Yeah. I felt this way once before, and I feel it that way again. Yeah.
Nice, okay. There are a lot of quotables on this album and a lot of ideas. Big one that stuck out right to me when I was listening was the track Sacrifice. It talks a lot about making sacrifices in your career to hold on to your integrity, hold on to your values. What does that mean to you, and why is that a huge thing to make sure we keep that in an industry where there's so much pressure to take those those calls for fame or for likes and everything? Why is that so important right now?
Yeah, so this whole album, it's called Start Anew, but the whole time I was working on it, I thought it would be called Fear of Death. Yeah. And then I realized at the end, first of all, who wants to listen to an album called that? And secondly, I realized what I'm trying to say, Start Anew, is the same thing. Yeah. It's just on the other side of that fear, is something fresh and new. Yeah. And so Sacrifice is a song, along those themes. It's exploring risk, right? And one thing I'm fond of saying is that I think that as artists, it's our social responsibility, also our privilege and our joy, but it's our responsibility to risk.
Yeah.
Literally on a stage, to put risk on a platform. Yeah. That's what people come out to see. Yeah. I think something real happening, somebody risking something in terms of their vulnerability, in terms of being just silly, right? And there's courage that we get from watching artists do that, step out on a limb and be themselves, and try to do something for people, to encourage people. So to answer your question, yeah, sacrifice, it's about all of that. It's about, as artists, we gotta take that on, even if no one's watching, even if no one's seeing that risk being taken, even if no one's seeing that sacrifice being made. That's especially when it's important. Yeah. Yeah.
And where in your career would you say you've taken the biggest risk?
That's a great question. So, like I said, the way I feel now, I've felt once before in my career. Yeah. And it was about 10-ish years ago. And it was after I finished my 4th album called Flying Colors. Yeah. And I really felt like something was done. And I realized in retrospect what was done was I was done doing this thing that we do in music and in hip-hop especially, of trying to tell the story of who we are and trying to discover who we are and tell the story of who we are and where we come from. Yeah. I realized with that album, like in a really good way, that's done. Like, I feel so grateful I've gotten to tell my story, and by extension, the story of people like me in various ways. But that's done. Yeah. And then, so there's risks involved in all of that. There's risks involved in telling your story. But I feel like the greater risks came after that, at that juncture. Because it was like, I don't know what's next. But what I was feeling like is next is I want to be a learner again. I want to try new things. I want to explore. Yeah. And that felt like a risk because it's like, I'm about to try, I'm willing to step into things I don't know how to do, have never done before, but I'm just open. And that's when I got the opportunity to host Q on CBC Radio. That's when I started to work on an album, a side project album that's like a retro soft rock album.
You're playing it down like that. One of my favorite albums.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But, you know, I love writing pop songs. Yeah. But I know how to rap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? I know how to rap. Yeah. So it felt strange and it felt risky and it felt vulnerable to do something that I'm like, I know I'm not as good at this as I am at that. Yeah. Because the rest of my career prior to that, it was like from the beginning to that point, it was this trajectory of I'm getting better and better. Yeah. And now I'm like almost deliberately getting worse. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Not almost deliberately, like actually deliberately. 100. But it felt like the right thing to do creatively. Yeah. And the thing it reminded me of, and this will be my first of many sports references, Michael Jordan had this clause in his contract called the love of the game clause. Yeah. And what that clause was even though he was literally the face of basketball globally and the Bulls' entire franchise, he had a clause that said, I can play basketball anytime I want, wherever I want, with whoever I want. And even though they were paying him millions and millions of dollars and he might roll his ankle playing basketball with his nephews, he's like, if my nephew starts talking trash, I need to be able to take him to the driveway and risk injury. Yeah. Because he understood that that is actually the key to the longevity. It's actually not, it's a risk in a sense, but it's actually riskier not to do that. Because if he can't keep his love for the game alive, if he can't participate in the sport in a way where he's allowed to remind himself always that this is a game, the game I loved as a kid and so on, then the pressure will become too much. Yeah. And all the other stuff of basketball will become too much. And I bring that up as a parallel because I think on some level I recognized even during that time, like, I need to explore, I need to be a learner again, I need to be vulnerable again right now. I don't know why, but I just feel like if I don't do that, I'm gonna burn out. Yeah. Trying to be some facsimile of myself. Yeah. So Yeah, sorry. That's the first of. Honestly, there's gonna be so much basketball in this talk. I'm sorry.
That's perfect. And I find a lot of artists, I find even emerging artists will run into that of burnout or where's that creativity coming from. And so I've never thought about it like that.
Love of the game clause.
Love of the game, yeah.
You got it. You have to do things to feed that love.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do that all along the way, and risk is a part of that. Risk is what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Risk is really what makes, I don't know, maybe not for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, risk is what makes it fun. And so, yeah, that love of the game thing. You know, I find when I would go on tour and we do multiple dates in a row, and you get good.
Yeah.
And when we get good, I would do things to screw up my bandmates.
What are we talking?
I'd bump into my bass player.
Yeah.
I'd tell my DJ, stop the song. Yeah. Because I didn't want us on autopilot.
Yeah.
I didn't want us to lose the liveness of it. I didn't want us to lose the excitement and the fun of playing music, for real playing music. Yeah. Like playing music as in listening to each other and listening to the room and responding.
Yeah.
I didn't want us to just get into our routine just because we know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's where the fun is when something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And you got to think on your feet, and everyone's watching, and then you hopefully make a miracle happen, you know?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
No.
Yeah.
This new album marks 20 years from your first album when this is over.
Correct.
And so you've had an amazing career that a lot of folks would love to have. 20-year span is unbelievable. Can you tell us a bit about your start in music?
Yes.
I've heard different stories from your sister submitting a radio, to a radio and different things. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I'll talk about two things related to that. So in terms of the beginnings of my passion for making music, this is sort of pre-career. Yeah. So what that was, I would say, without going all the way back to, being a kid, I would say that there were a couple of moments where I wrote things. Mm-hmm. One in high school, towards the end of high school, and then into early university, where I wrote things and I suddenly looked at them and was like, whoa, this is me. Yeah. And I care how good this is. Yeah. And I'm working a lot at this, and no one's asking me to.
Yeah.
All of these little things are indicators of like a passion. Yeah. I'd never experienced that before. You know what I mean? Those indicators of no one's asking me to do this and I'm still working at it. I'm pretty sure it's fine and I'm still working at it. Yeah. Because it's not good enough for some bar that I have in my mind. Yeah. And then thirdly, like this sense of that's me. That's my story. That's my emotional landscape. I'm looking at it reflected right back to me. Yeah. And I'm not seeing it anywhere else. Yeah. And so that was the beginnings of like, I remember almost feeling scared, like, uh-oh, because I care. Yeah. And life was a lot easier when I didn't care. Yeah. And I was just a kid that worked at McDonald's and played basketball and had friends. Yeah. Now there's something I care about. This is scary.
On your mind, on your heart.
On my mind. And then in terms of my career, so then that was happening, and my sister entered me. She's heard that there was this unsigned talent competition that this radio station was putting on, and the winners were getting a good chunk of money, like 15 grand or something like that, to record an album. Yeah. And she submitted me. She said, hey, I'm going to take you to the studio. You just had to record a demo to be submitted and take a photo or something. Yeah. And so she did that. She arranged that, and I ended up winning that competition and got a chance to make my first album, which was a dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Without embarrassing her, my sister's here too, and she's that kind of person.
Yes.
Give me that kick in the butt.
Big sister?
Younger sister.
Just
younger 3 years.
Sister.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Give me the kick in the butt.
No, shout out younger sisters too.
Realign me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Shout out younger sisters too. Yep.
Going into your career, what are practices that you've done to that are best practices for keeping yourself motivated, for keeping yourself working hard? Because it's not an easy industry to stay in. It can be easy nowadays to get into, but not to have the longevity you have. What are those practices?
We could have this whole talk just about that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so important. I was talking with an artist yesterday, younger artist, and I was telling him, I feel like this thing that we're talking about that you just brought up is the hard part. Yeah. Music's the easy part. Yeah. Because we love music. Yeah. Like, music's the easy part. Yeah. The hard part is staying grounded, staying focused, keeping the love alive, all that stuff that happens before you get on stage or before you go to the studio or before you sit down to write. So there's so much I could say to that. I'm going to keep it brief and just share one thing I think about before I go on stage. Yeah. One thing I think about before I go on stage, because I get nervous. I think it's important to get nervous, but I get nervous. Yeah. And I think about two things. I think about what I have to give and what I think the audience wants. Because what I have to give changes day to day a little bit. Yeah. Some days I'm feeling hype and excited and really joyful, and then it's like, okay, I have that to give tonight. Yeah. And then what do people want? And then I try to think about where those two things intersect. Yeah. What can I give that they need or want? Yeah. And try to just think from that place of not expecting. So the reason why I think about it that way is I try not to expect more from myself than I have to offer. Yeah. And just kind of being reasonable with myself about what I have to give and fair to myself. Yeah. And that takes some pressure off. And then just anytime you're thinking about other people, it takes the pressure off. Yeah. And thinking about what you're really doing, which is serving the audience. Yeah. That's really what you're doing. Anytime that focus changes, that also takes a lot of pressure off. And so that's what I'll share in order to keep it brief. But we could definitely talk forever about that, because I do think that's the hard part. Yeah. Music's not the hard part. Yeah. On the note of service and like serving the audience versus yourself, you mentioned the nerves go down with that. Can I ask a little more about that? Yes.
Because you would think the opposite of like, in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness, what can I do to give these people a show? Yeah. Are they gonna like this, or is this whack to them? Like, how do you balance that with not getting caught up in other people's opinions? So here's an important thing to remember. Yeah. The audience is on your side. They didn't come to the show to have a bad time. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like it's sounds obvious, but I don't want to sound like facetious or flippant or anything. Yeah. Because it's so easy for us to forget that. Yeah. That the audience is like really on our side. They're there. They paid money. They are literally invested in having a good time. Yeah. They'll do anything to have a good time. Yeah. They really want to have a good time. Yeah. So they're on our side. So that's one thing to remember. And the other thing that helps me, I think I've always understood this intuitively, which maybe not everybody does, but I think I've always understood that performance is this fundamentally silly, beautiful human thing. It's not that serious. Yeah. It's not that serious. It's a silly, beautiful human thing where one person works at a stupid skill and then stands up and does it. Yeah. In front of people. Yeah. And people are delighted because people like to be entertained and they like to be inspired. And stories are what hold us together, and it's fun. Yeah. But that's all it is. Yeah. I've always been a person that's like, I think I understood that always intuitively. Whenever anybody asks me to do anything that involves physical risk, it's like a quick no. Someone's like, jump off this stage. I'm like, nope, never. You know what I mean? But social risk, I've always been like, yeah, who cares? Yeah. Who cares? Ooh. There's like literally no risk. It's like people love when someone stands up and does something. I don't know why. Yeah. But humans just love it, you know? Man. Maybe from the time I was a little kid and, your parents' friends come over and they say, hey, kids, come up, do that dance you do, downstairs or whatever. And then they kind of laugh at you and clap, and then you go back downstairs. And it's like a little bit embarrassing. But they obviously are delighted by it, so whatever, you know? Man. And it's the same thing in front of a few thousand people, It's no different. So I would say that, if someone is
the audience thing puts on pressure, I'd say, first of all, they're on your side.
Yeah.
Secondly, what we're doing is just this beautiful, ancient, but fundamentally silly and low stakes thing.
Yeah.
Of just delighting each other with our skills and our stories.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nice. Long career. You've succeeded a lot. Where are some mistakes you've made? Or what is a big mistake in your mind that you've made along that way that maybe if you went back, you'd be like, I would have changed that?
I would have changed that.
He doesn't have any.
No. No, that's a great question. It's an important question. Some things that I would have done differently. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the reason why nothing is coming to mind. And that's because when you really love something, doing something, you end up with a short memory for the bad.
Oh, yeah.
You end up with a short memory for the bad. Yeah. I was having a conversation last weekend backstage. I was talking with my DJ, and we were having this conversation. Someone was asking, like, what's, like, the worst show? And my DJ was like, remember this show? I was like, oh, yeah, that was terrible. and I was like, we remember this one? He's like, oh, yeah, that's terrible. And I was like, yeah, I mean, and then I realized, I'm like, yeah, do you remember that actually a good show was such a surprise back then? Like, every show was terrible.
Yeah.
But we just don't remember. We just didn't remember because we loved it.
Yeah.
Like, we had fun every single time. And so that's why partly why nothing is coming to mind, because all the stumbles and mistakes and missteps, it's like I end up with a short memory for it. Yeah. One thing I will say is that I've realized so many things along the way, and I'm not sure if I would call it a mistake exactly, but this juncture I was talking about earlier, where I felt like, okay, it's time to do something new. I'm open to new things and being a learner again and stuff. One thing I did realize during that time is that as much as we as artists love to explore and do this thing, and it feels like the right thing to do, it is important to remember, just from a career standpoint, that the audience, the public, doesn't have all the bandwidth in the world for us. Yeah. We just don't have all the bandwidth in the world for each other, period. Yeah. And that's not anybody's fault. It's just we have other things to think about. And so there is an extent to which the whole sort of thing of being a professional and marketing and being clear about what you do, it does help. Yeah. Right? If you make a rap album and then a soft rock album and then you host a show, and it's just like, it is a lot of things. Yeah. And not everybody has the bandwidth to think of you as this dynamic human being. Yeah. And that's totally fair, actually. And so it's a legitimate reason why, if you want to grow and explore, but still be a professional, you do have to be strategic about it. That's a realization that I had in my career of, like, I probably should, I don't even want to say should have been, but it would be wise, certainly it would have been wise in a sense, to be strategic about that, because that's just a reality of being a professional, and a reality of the audience sort of, like, I'll just say bandwidth. Like, they don't have all the time in the world to just consider all sides of you. Oh, like, they kind of want to think about, I go to this person for this or for that or for, the other thing. Yeah.
Last thing I have here, career-wise, or like beginning of the career-wise, is what's one thing you would have asked, or one thing you would have wanted to know or wish someone told you when making the first album?
Every single thing. So I was fortunate enough to win that contest, and I this was 2005, so I opened the Yellow Pages and looked up recording studios.
Yo, yeah.
I didn't know anything. Looked up recording studios, picked one. Yeah. Called it. They were like, yep, we can do this. Said, cool. Yeah. Went down there, looked at the mixing board, and suddenly realized I don't know what any of these faders do. Yeah. I don't even know what EQ is. Yeah. Like, I've been just rapping with my friends, just freestyling with my friends, and So what did I wish I knew? Literally, you pick a thing. Like, I wish I knew it. I wish I knew it. But there's something great about that stage where, for one, just how naive you are is good.
Yeah.
Because if I knew how much I didn't know, I would have like ran out of there and said, let me get some books. Let me spend 2 years before I start working on this album.
Yeah.
It would have been the appropriate thing to do. So the naivete is actually good. Yeah, and you know, the faster you start, the faster you learn.
Yeah.
The faster you make all those mistakes, the faster you pick up things and stuff. So, but literally anything would have helped.
Oh,
like,
man.
I did not know one thing.
Oh, bro.
I did not know one thing.
Good to know.
1/4-inch cable, EQ. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what any of these things meant. Yeah. Nothing at all.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Your lyrics have always related with a lot of listeners, from that project to TSOL, Flying Colors, A Short Story About a War, and now here's Start Anew.
Yeah.
Some lyrics that stood out to me, Fam Jam, on Flying Colors. You said, now when you're third world born, but first world formed, sometimes you feel pride, sometimes you feel torn. And I have never related with lyrics more than those lyrics specifically, as I think at that time, I was 17, moved around a lot, and then same thing, I'm originally Nigerian, so just figuring out your place, figuring out your identity, and understanding the battle between how you've been raised, where you're from, your roots. Why is identity so important for you? And you mentioned everything up from that first album to Flying Colors was really talking about who you are, finding that identity. Why is that important?
Yeah. So one thing I love about hip hop is that imperative to make some claims about who you are, where you come from, and represent who you are, and be proud of that. And so, and the project of being proud of that, you know, it's and building that. That's a lot of what we do in hip hop is we build that up, you know, because we might come from experiences or communities where that wasn't handed to us. Is pride in who we are and where we come from. So, in our lyrics, we build that up, you know, piece by piece. And so, I've always taken that seriously and taken that to heart and loved that about hip hop. And so I'm really glad you resonate with those lyrics. As soon as I started writing stuff, because I was freestyling when I was a kid and I loved that, but I didn't bother writing anything really because my heroes were just so great and had things to say and I didn't yet. But when I started embarking on this project of, you know, let me try to not just emulate my heroes, but say who I am and where I come from. That's when it got serious for me, and that's when I fell in love with it. Yeah. So that's why it matters, and then why it especially matters is when people resonate with what you're saying. You know, with what I write down in my room by myself. You know, I think especially. Yeah, in a specific context, the specificity is important in those lyrics. The specificity is important. I'm talking about an experience in a time and in a place, you know, in this country, and African immigration to this country really started basically in the 80s, you know, when my family came here. And then, you know, families like yours came here and so on. So we share these experiences, and our artists are the ones that tell those stories. Right? And reflect that back at a certain point in time and help shape these new cultural identities, which I think is really cool. You know what I mean? Kanon or someone like that. It's like this thing of what it means to be African Canadian, like hip hop plays an important role in forming what that is 100%. And what that means and even for different generations. So, you know, I didn't know any of that when I started in terms of the effect and the implications like on that level, but I knew this is what you do in hip hop, and this is fun, and this is exciting, and this is why I love it. Oh man, hip hop, obviously a huge genre. It's been growing and growing, and you have gotten to be in it for a good chunk of time. 20 years of a career is massive. So you've seen
what it was like when you came out, and then the different changes. What changes have you seen, and what has helped you keep evolving, like through that, to keep going?
Yeah, so many changes, different eras. Every era, I've realized now, brings its own flavor to hip hop and excitement. And just to trace it a little bit, you know, I feel like when I was 16, 17, so that's a formative time in my listening. That's when some of the biggest rappers were, you know, Outkast and Andre 3000 and The Roots and Black Thought and Jay-Z and Eminem. So I feel like I really came up in this lyricism era, right? So my little cohort, people of my age, man, we're so hyper-focused on that. And the DJs, they were of that, again, that 16, when we were 16, 17, was the DMC championships. Turntablism was getting to this expert level. So that's our little cohort. Okay. Before that, so I've interviewed for like Hip Hop Evolution, KRS-One, you know, some of these people. From that cohort, man, they're monster live performers. They're still the best. They're still the best. The Roots are still the best live band. KRS-One's still the best live MC. Why? Because in their era, that's what you could do with rap. Was absolutely destroy a crowd. And that's what gave you the crown, and you took that so seriously. And so that's their flavor, you know? And then after that, you know, I think the 2013, 2014 pocket is one of the greatest ever in hip hop. And I think there was some energies that came out in that time that are super special and are gonna carry on for a long, long time. So each generation in hip hop, each little cohort brings a different flavor, a different energy, and it just contributes to the whole thing. And whatever era you come from, you'll always be connected with that in a deep way, and you'll be able to give that feeling forever. Forever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was good. Sorry, I'm digesting that. Oh man. With that, and then evolving, how do you keep that creative process going? Like you've spoken about that period of They're Up to Flying Colors. Then you really, I would say, changed, and like there was a lot of story, a lot of exploring with a short story about a war, Tao, and now Start Anew. So where did that creative process come in?
Yes. So the thing I would say as far as evolution for me is probably two pieces to it. One is what I was speaking to earlier in terms of remaining connected to the era of hip hop that I am connected to, and that really imprinted on me and is in my DNA. Like never abandoning that. That is really where I come from and who I am and my voice as an artist. But also to be curious, always curious, always open, always a fan. I think that's really important. So I've done a lot of experimenting musically in my career because I'm such a fan of music, and I never want to like tamper that down. I want to keep my voice going while still being a fan and being curious and exploring different sounds. You know, and that involves, for me, the biggest key to that, just going out, like being outside. Getting off my couch, going to a show. I never regret it. And so I still, like, I got 2 small kids, and I'm still out all the time.
Oh man, how do you manage that?
I get energy from it.
Oh, nice.
I get energy from it. So that's my thing. It's like sleep's not the only thing that gives energy. I'm fond of saying that. Sleep's not the only thing that gives energy, you know? Go out to a dope show and feel inspired, and guess what? You're gonna wake up the next morning and put your kids on the bus and feel great. Even though you slept 5 hours. What's the big deal?
Simple. We've been talking about the love of music. You mentioned that is an important part, but there's the whole other side. There's the industry side. What industry decisions do you think you've made that have been beneficial for you? And that could be management, label. Like what point there? Because when this is over, you're talking about you got that funding, which is great. You put out that album, and then what pushed to that next step of the old Prince? And
So the old Prince, I started working with a label called Black Box Recordings.
Yeah.
And I think we worked really well together because I was hungry and they were hungry.
Yeah.
And I was willing to roll up my sleeves and work, and they were willing to roll up their sleeves and work. And I wasn't the biggest artist, and they weren't the biggest label, but there was a level of dedication that we both had, and that's always been a decision-making criteria for me in terms of my working relationships in the industry is a little bit less if someone is a big name manager or label or whatever, and more, do they believe in me and are they dedicated to working?
Yeah.
That's always been more my criteria. Now, I don't want to, like, every single industry question that I get asked, I always want to preface it with, there's a million ways to do it right, and a million ways to do it wrong. So my way is not the way. Yeah. It's a way. So I'm gonna just say that now, so I don't have to say it before every answer.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's how I've thought about it. That's what's made sense to me, and I think it's important to say that because it worked out, but it could have not worked out.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of real life. Like, you make choices, and the thing that I always say to myself is take your best guess with your best intentions.
Oh, man. Yeah.
You don't know how it's going to work out. But if you take your best guess, and by best guess, why I say guess is because you're always going to be working with limited information and a limited time frame.
Yeah.
But you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
So it's a guess.
Yeah.
So take your best guess based on the information you have and have access to and the time that you have. And then with your best intentions. So by that, I'm always telling myself, not from a place of scarcity or fear or resentfulness, but from a more generous, more hopeful, more positive place. That's like better intentions. Because I just feel like I can live with the result if I do that.
Yeah.
The result, I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You can have absolutely the most brilliant strategy, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or you can have a horrible idea, but it works.
Yeah.
So take your best guess with your best intentions. And for me, that was choosing to work with people that I felt like believed in me and were dedicated.
Nice. You've built a long career on collaboration, on a community. You've worked with amazing artists, Socrates, and you've also been a platform to allow other voices to shine. There are folks like, I found out about Phoenix through you. Cool. I found out about so many other artists through you. Why is that important, and why community and collaborating that way? It's been huge in hip hop forever. And why is that important to you?
It's important to me, firstly, because the people that you meet when you play music is the number one best thing about working in music. I had a conversation with this poet, Professor George Eliot Clark, works at the University of Toronto, and he was telling me that he always tells his students, his English literature students, he says, some of you, you're gonna be lawyers, that's great. Some of you are gonna be teachers, that's great. Some of you are gonna try this writing thing. You're gonna work in art. You're gonna have the most rich life.
Wow. Yeah.
If you do that. Because you're gonna meet the coolest people, and you're gonna meet so many people.
Yeah.
And I love people. And so, to me, that is the number one best thing about working in music, is like, I meet dope people. I come to Calgary, I meet dope people. I'm gonna go out tonight to the Legion, I'm gonna meet cool people. I'm gonna see cool artists. Like, this is what, it's the kind of stuff that for some people, if they had one night like that, they'll probably be talking about it for years. You know what I mean? It gets to be our life, and it's 100%. Because of other human beings. And so it's just my pleasure and my joy to like collaborate with people, work with people, stand alongside such interesting souls. And in music specifically, it's like the souls of human beings just like come to the surface. Yeah. with your friends or peers, it's like it might take 10 years to really get to know the soul of a person. But you go to like a festival, Calgary Folk Fest, I saw Carrie, like you go to Calgary Folk Fest, you see an artist step on stage and you're literally like watching their pure soul.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're watching them beam the essence of who they are.
Yeah.
And then the next one does it. And then the next one does it. And then the next one does it. And then you do it.
Yeah.
And then you all talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, yeah, let's be around. Like, I want to be around that more. So let's make songs together.
Yeah.
Like, let's do shows together. Like, all that is just the best part.
And we're talking about that. We're talking about the people. What would you say for emerging artists? A lot of the time we're pumped to the idea of go out and network, go out and meet people. How do you do that and build those relationships authentically? I know for myself, it's just going out and, like you said, enjoying where you are, and it'll come. But what else can you say?
That's it. Go out and enjoy.
Yeah.
And it will come. Because all you have to do is be where it sounds too simple, but I really think it is this simple. Yeah. All you got to do is go out and be where you love to be.
Yeah.
Like those spaces, those communities, like just go. Yeah. Just be there. It's such a difference when people can feel your energy in person versus a DM.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's so different. Yeah. And the amount of things that I've seen just happen for people because they simply went where they wanted to go in the first place. To the events, to the courses, the lectures, they just got off their couch and went.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't want to act like it's that simple, but
sometimes it is, honestly.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes it isn't.
Oh, man. In your music, you touch on a lot about empathy. You touch on a lot about social issues, and that's a big thing that's been around in hip hop all the way through. NWA talking about issues that matters. Other artists. Where do you draw the line? How do you know what belongs in the music and what is preaching or what is like too much to put in the music?
It is an inexact science, for sure. So you never really know what's too much. A couple of little things that I try to do to figure out the balance. One is I often think about my stakes in the thing. Because I think when I am brave enough to put my stakes in the issue into the song, it transforms it from a song about an issue to a story about me.
Yeah.
And somebody encountering a story about you, it's like you're not judging that. I don't think a listener is judging that. I don't think a listener is going, do I agree or not or disagree? It's actually not a thing to be agreed with or disagreed with. Yeah. It's actually just a human being's experience and feelings. You can't agree with or disagree with that. And human beings are social creatures, so we're actually inclined towards one another, unless you're a sociopath. Yeah. Right? So, unless you have that very specific disorder, we're inclined towards one another. So when we hear another person's story or we hear another person sharing their feelings with a level of honesty, we're actually inclined to sympathize, to see it from their perspective, and come around it and come close to it. So I always try to think, what is my stakes in this thing I want to talk about? And how can I make sure that's in the song? It's like the song you brought up, Fam Jam, you know what I mean? For some immigrants, it's like, I'm not just making this song. There's a lot of that song where I'm talking about the immigrant, the refugee experience, but I really was like, I want to make sure this third verse is my stakes in this thing. Yeah. So that whole verse goes from, the first two are talking a little bit more generally and whatnot, to the third verse, which is my family's specific story. Yeah. Being from Rwanda, coming in the 80s. There's lines where I say, one time after family ties, I turned on the news and saw my family die. Yeah. Pop said it's murder in the motherland and things about colonialism I didn't understand, right? Just talking about being 11.
Yeah.
And it's like, this isn't ideological.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about
true.
what it's like to be from somewhere else and to be processing that as a child.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not a thing ideologically to agree with or disagree with.
Yeah.
It's just my story, and I want to give it to you.
Yeah.
And, I've seen what that's been able to do at concerts in terms of bringing people together. And then the thing I love about rap, too, is, like, you can be so dynamic, like, in a hip-hop album, in the context of a whole album, even a whole song. Like, you can be funny and also serious, and you can talk some theory and also talk some real life. And fans of hip-hop just understand, like, yeah, that's normal. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And we get to be whole human beings in that way. So that's always, how I think about the balance as well. But the main thing I think about is, my stakes in it. I got to make sure that's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that, and again, I mentioned all throughout hip hop, all throughout its history, there's always been that call for people to talk about those issues or talk about their realities. But just in general, what responsibilities, if any, do you think artists have as a public voice? And I know there are different levels of emerging artists to someone who has the reach you do, and beyond.
Yeah. I think it's very individual.
Yeah.
I really feel like different artists have different callings. And again, we're like in a room, I feel like there's a lot of artists here, so I'm not afraid to speak in these kinds of terms about what we do.
Yeah.
I think that we have different callings, and we have to listen to those. Some people, maybe in this room, feel this deep sense of like, I think I'm supposed to talk to millions of people in my music. Listen to that.
Yeah.
That's maybe not delusions of grandeur. That could be really what's in your heart, and the capacity that you have. And another person might really feel in their heart because they have just burning conviction about certain things that like they want to speak on X, Y, and Z, and they want to be 100% uncompromising about those things. By all means, do that.
Yeah.
It's very individual. At the same time, I think we do figure it out in community. So I would recommend not feeling alone and isolated, but bring some of those things that you feel in your heart, that you feel called to share in your music or outside of your music, to community and see, and help them help you discern. Yeah. But I think it's very individual. For me, I've always felt inspired by a tradition within hip hop. There's certain artists that I loved, taught me in terms of, if you have the microphone, you gotta represent, who you are, where you come from, and speak on some things that matter. Even as you have fun and celebrate and bring joy and bring people together, you have to touch on things that matter. It's just the rules.
Yeah.
So I grew up with that. But not everybody feels that same way. I don't judge. And some people feel even more conviction than me. They feel burning conviction about, forget about the music. Outside of the music, you got to say this and that.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say on this point in terms of myself and how I think about it is, I always think of my music as, this is me, where I get to say it the way I see it, in my own terms, in my own language, in my own sound, everything. And I like to have that be my first foot forward publicly.
Yeah.
And then if I comment on an issue, I can comment on an issue. But I don't ever want, but I'm not a social commentator.
Yeah.
I'm a musician. So I also want to make sure that I have music out and people know that I'm making music and this is what my music is saying. That's primarily my statement. Because it's how I say it best.
Yeah.
I don't say it best any other way. Yeah. But there's times I'll feel compelled to speak on this and that and the other thing, but I just need that to be second. for me to feel good and right and honest about how I'm participating in the conversation and participating in society, that's how I need it to be. Yeah. I need it to be music first.
Nice. Music first.
Yeah.
Through this career, you've gone through lots and lots and lots of highs. What do you do for yourself to keep balanced in that? Because there are a lot of pressures, especially with 2011, rap album of the year. You beat out Drake. Like that, there's a lot of pressure of like, oh, this amazing feeling. Yeah. Now you got to do that again.
Yeah,
and you got to keep going. And you got what do you do to balance that and then just live a good life on top of that? Yeah.
So part of the you have to do it again is really good. Yeah. Because sometimes if we don't have to do it again, we just won't do it again. Yeah. So part of that is actually really good, you know, and deadlines are your friend. All these things are your friend, these things that force you to create and to try to create at a high level. So part of that is good. The other part that I think we all need to be careful of and that I've tried to be mindful of and careful of relates to what I was saying about we're called to different things. So what happens in the music industry, as the same that happens in every industry, is a trajectory that the industry wants for you, the trajectory that your family and friends want for you and your fans want for you is this. Yeah. Forever this. Yeah. And that's not realistic.
At all.
At all.
Yeah.
So, within all that social pressure and industry pressure to do this, it's important to be mindful of what you feel in fact called to be and do. I've never seen myself, and this is not self-deprecating, it's just the truth of how I've always seen myself, is I've never seen myself as a superstar. That's not what I feel called to do or be. It's not who I feel like I fundamentally am. Yeah. So that trajectory, it's like it's gonna do that, but then it's probably gonna do this. And let's be honest, music careers then do this. Yeah. So we need to know this. We need to know this. Yeah. And be prepared for that trajectory. Oh yeah. We gotta be prepared for it. So I've always tried to keep that in mind and understand that like what I need to focus on is what I have to give. Mm-hmm. Be grateful for the opportunity to continue to make contributions, and make sure that my identity is not completely tied to music. Nice. You know what I mean? Yeah. Relationships, family, the values that matter no matter what. And that is not an easy thing. Again, back to what I was saying earlier, making music, playing music, easy. Yeah. This stuff is the hard part because music is so close to us. So, you know, but how can it not be the core of our identity? Yeah. Is a really important thing. So I could talk forever about that, the things that have been grounding for me. But one thing I think about often is the people that I see outside of music doing great things. Friends that are teachers, friends that are working community or whatever they do. I don't know how I can put it, but like when I go to the studio, I think about them. I don't think about other artists. I think about them, and I think I want to be as good at this as they are at that. I want to be as helpful in this as they are at that. So that also like grounds me, but I'm losing your question a little bit. I apologize. But it's a thing I could talk about forever because I do think it is the hard part. Yeah.
Adding on to that then for, again, we mentioned there are a lot of musicians here, and so for emerging acts, what can you say to keep that driver belief in an industry that's very much emotionally and financially unstable and continuing to pursue this? Because there are so many times where it's, like you mentioned, you can throw so many things at the wall, you could keep doing this, and you could stop on try 99 when try 100 is the thing that pushes you through. Yeah. How do you keep that, or what would you say to artists to keep that drive alive?
Yeah. I'd probably say two things. One, make sure you're having fun all along the way. So this thing I was talking about, like go to shows, be around other people. We can be so isolated in music, and that sucks all the life out of it. So get out, have fun with music. And the other thing I've become really fond of saying is making it is making it. Like, creating the thing you want to create. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So don't let anything stand in your way of doing that. Like, well, okay, things might come in your way. Yeah. Life happens. There's circumstances. Don't let you stand in the way of that. Don't let your fears about how people will receive it or whatnot stand in the way of it. Don't let your ego stand in the way of it. Don't let, perhaps circumstances will dictate that you have to scale back or still scale down your idea. The album that you wanted to make, it maybe has to be an acoustic album, or maybe it has to be an EP, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. Think about the core of what you're trying to communicate and make it, create it in some way, shape, or form. That is the thing you wanted to do from the beginning. The outcome, getting something back, is very important, but it's not the first thing. Yeah. The first thing is making it. Making it is making it. There's a tremendous, like I said at the very beginning, when you asked how I feel about having Start Anew done, I feel tremendous satisfaction about that. And the last story I'll tell on that point, during the pandemic when it started, and obviously we're all shut down, right, as artists. So, I'm not going to the studio, I'm not recording, whatever. I'm just watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. Yeah. I'm just watching it.
Oh, yeah.
Having a great time, just watching that. And I noticed in the last episode, they're talking about before the Bulls team disbanded, the coach led them in this ceremony where they all sat around a fire and they wrote things down and they burned it in the fire. Like, words for the team, words of goodbye, and they burned it in the fire. And one of the players said, and Michael Jordan even wrote a poem, Burn in the Fire. Yeah. I was like, that's so funny. Yeah. I was like, that's so funny. A Michael Jordan poem. He's like known to be like the meanest, most emotionless guy, and he wrote this poem. Was it terrible? Was it amazing?
Yeah.
Like, was it terrible? And then his teammates had to like stifle their laughter because they're scared of him? Or was it amazing? They're like, damn, this guy's amazing at poetry too. Yeah. Like, when did he work on poetry? Yeah. So I spent 24 hours writing Michael Jordan poems. I wrote a whole suite of Michael Jordan poems. I worked on them. I worked really hard on them to get the right tone. And I found this Michael Jordan like photo where he's wearing this backwards Kangol hat and he's looking very sensitive. And I set up a Michael Jordan IG poetry page and I posted these poems. And I went to bed feeling so satisfied. Because making it is making it. Yeah. Oh, man. I felt so creatively satisfied, Yeah. And, I realized something in that moment of just, like the outcome doesn't matter that much to me. I just love having an idea and actually making it. Yeah. Oh, man. To my satisfaction, you know what I mean? Yeah. I worked way too hard on those poems, But so that's the last thing I would say. Making it is making it. You have an idea and you turn it into a tangible reality is so fun. And then you share it with people and like 4 people find the same delight in it that you do. You're like, yes, my life's perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, man.
I have a couple more questions, but I'm going to fly off on some tangents before we hit on that. I had a moment recently where I was off in Lethbridge, and we were there for a conference, and I was there with other musicians, and I've had a great run recently of doing shows on a tour for my album, and that was great. And I was there in Lethbridge next morning with another musician, amazing from Calgary, Q-Varo. Got to do that shout. But we got up 7 a.m. in the morning. We're down there for breakfast. We're just chatting, having those great moments. And something dawned on us both in that moment where we're thinking of like those moments of here we are, like building this thing, and we're having these moments to connect as well. And so in that moment or after, I thought of you. I thought of moments where you've toured with like some insane people. And yourself, I think Macklemore, Greaves. There was a point where you all toured together, or like.
Can't remember if I toured with Greaves as well at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a couple runs with Macklemore. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it popped in my mind of those moments of growing together, and like Macklemore and Greaves, they're both there in Seattle. They both also have those moments of their friends doing this thing, and to us, we see you guys as these unattainable artists, but you've also had those moments on that come up, on that growth there, and you've had those moments. Can you talk to us about what that's like, going touring for the first time, being in that space?
Yeah.
Well,
the cool, I'll tell you the really cool thing, man. Like, when I think back to around when I started, 2005, 2006, 2007, actually so many of the artists that I started with have done cool stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have achieved cool things.
Yeah.
And that's not unique to our cohort. Yeah. I think anybody who just loves it and dives into it, like I said, making it is making it. Like, you make things, good things happen. You stick around, good things happen. Yeah. Not all the good things, but good things, you know? So that's what I would say by way of encouragement. Like, that's not unique to my cohort. Like, it will be your cohort. Like, you're already doing cool things, and more cool things are going to happen because you love it and you stick around in it and you're good to people and you know what I mean? Like, you're doing all the things. To this point, there was something a professor said to me a long time ago, but it stuck with me. He said, you don't have to be very good to be the best. Mm. And I think I was the only person in the class that, like, I would doodle a lot in class, and I was like, huh? I knew he was saying something important, and for some reason I knew he was saying something important for me. Yeah. I don't know why. I knew it in that moment. This is like 25 years ago. Yeah. So when I think about all these artists you're naming, like, I really think, man, yeah, I've seen these people in small clubs. Yeah. I've seen these people in front of 15,000 people. We're all artists with our strengths and with our flaws, and like, you don't have to be very good to be the best. Yeah. You focus on what you do well, and you hone that, and you embrace who you are, the good and the bad, and you hone that, and you just stick around, and you're good to people. Guess what? We're all just human beings out here. None of us are flawless, incredible, like, you know, it's a strange, strange thing, but I've just seen it time and time again, man. Like, I'm intimately aware of my own flaws as an artist. Like, you know how it is. You make music, you become very acquainted with the ways in which you don't, the ways in which you suck. You know what I mean?
I had a humbling recently.
We all do all the time. But those things are the unique characteristics of what we do, and we also have strengths. But even those weaknesses, sometimes they have a weird charm to them. Yeah. You know, so yeah. I've just seen it time and time again, man. Yeah. Stick around, keep working hard, keep loving it, keep being a good person along the way. Man, strange things happen, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap this up with, again, we've mentioned 20+ year career here for you. Recently, I heard you talking with Tom on Q, and you mentioned the thought of the mortality of your career, and you mentioned that along with talking with fear of death, and then again talking about that with your career. You've had a long career, and I'm sure there's still more to come as you're continuing to create. But why is that a prevalent thought for you now?
Yeah, you know what? It's always been there for me. Yeah. I've always felt each and every album. I feel like I'm singing for my supper, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's like each one's got to work out. You know what I mean? But I like that. Again, back to what we were talking about with performance and risk. It's like, I like some stakes. Yeah. I don't know if I want to be on stage just going like, I could not do this if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Maybe that's just my personality, but it feels honest.
Yeah.
When there's actual stakes in it, and but I do think about my career, and will I always have the energy and the inspiration to deliver music that I genuinely think deserves to be heard, or not, or if that will not be in me anymore.
Yeah.
I've been consistently surprised that I keep changing and the world keeps changing, and so I keep somehow having things to say. When I was hosting Q, and we would have legacy older artists in, I would often ask them, like, did you think, you'd still be here at this point making music? They're all like, yep. So I stopped asking the question. Like, they found that question so boring.
Yeah.
But it's because in my own experience, each album I'm thinking, like, do I have another one?
Yeah.
I don't know. But, like, through, say, like this Michael Jordan poetry experience, I have learned about myself, like, I think there's something in me that just gets a kick out of making stuff. And always will, and will always sort of like find ideas laying around. Now, does that mean a career though? Is another question. Yeah. That's not in my control entirely. Yeah. But I always think every year that I get to do this is another year I don't have to do something else. So
yeah,
yeah, whatever.
Oh man,
I come from regular working people, man. I don't see anything wrong with that. I have no qualms about that. Yeah. But if I have to do that for 10 years instead of 40, then that's great. That's, hey, 5 years instead of 35,
100%.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that's how I think about it, and just try to remain true to giving what I feel compelled to give and what I feel compelled to contribute, whether that's a very serious song, whether that's Michael Jordan Instagram fan fiction, like whatever it is, the thing that that's going to keep me up at night working because I really feel compelled to give it. I try to just stay true to that. That can work or it can't work. Again, I have to give that caveat always. Yeah. So far, it's worked for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Thank you for joining us, man.
Man, thank
Please,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, Shad.
Thank you.